this video, we're going to be setting up for the brand new Wild Boar Great One grind. The Wild Boar Great One is coming to the Hunter Call of the Wild on December the 9th. In this video, I'll be teaching you guys exactly everything that you're going to need to know on December the 9th to spawn yourself a Wild Boar Great One. We're going to talk about some basic herd management in this video, how to set up, what to shoot, the best loadout, and if you're new to my channel, welcome, my name is Squid. I'm known for extreme simplicity in my guides here on YouTube, and trust me, this guide will be no different. I'm going to stay as simple as possible throughout this entire video. Now, it is very important that you guys do watch until the end, because if you do miss out on any information whatsoever, it can and very well will mess up the method. So without further ado, guys, as always, my name is Squid, you're watching Squidster Outdoors, and wasting no more of your time, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Okay, so today's guide, just like most of my other guides, is going to be separated into chapters. You can see those chapters by hovering over the YouTube progress bar at the bottom of the video. So if you don't want to learn about a loadout, or if you want to only learn about herd management, you can navigate through the video by using those chapters that I put in for you. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive into chapter 1. What loadout should you be using? Alright, so we're going to do a full loadout guide here. I'm just going to go ahead and go to this blank loadout. We're going to rename this to Wild Boar. And now we're going to go ahead and start with rifles. Now, it doesn't matter what map you're doing it in. We're going to talk about the best maps of choice here in just a few minutes. The loadout will be the same because most of the maps, the only one we don't know is the new one. Wild Boar always drink at night. So, starting off, I'm going to suggest to you guys a 7-9 rifle. Now, Wild Boar are class 4, so the 7-9 rifle is not going to be for your trophy boar. It's just going to be for normal, common boar, and given the fact that they're class 4, using a 7-9 rifle, the best one of choice is going to be the Arzina 300, is going to make sure that they barely run anywhere. That's if you don't drop them instantly, which will happen quite a lot when using a 7-9 rifle. Now, you want to make sure that you don't shoot any diamonds or rares with the 7-9 rifle, as it will mess them up, and you will not get full trophy score, which is very important when shooting diamonds, because if you mess up a diamond, it will score gold. Now, for your 4-8 rifle, this is where you kind of get to choose. For efficiency, I would suggest to you the Hansen 30-06. .6 is a big caliber. This is a semi-automatic 5-round 30-06 here, so that's going to be the best for efficiency. Between these two guns, you'll have 10 rounds, and the .6 does an amazing job on any class 4 animal, so the Hansen 30-06 would be a very good choice. Arguably the best choice. Some more honorable mentions if you kind of want to go down the bolt action road, which is where I prefer, just because I've been using semi-automatics for so long and they get kind of boring after a while, and I like a little bit more of a challenge. The Malimer 7mm, it's 3 rounds, absolute tank of a gun. It's actually a 4-9 rifle. You could shoot every boar with this, as long as you're okay with only 3 rounds, and it will drop them pretty dang close to as easily as a 7-9 rifle. Not as easily, obviously, because the 300 is just a bigger gun in general, but to say the least, the 7 mag does a great job. Basically, any 4-8 rifle, whichever you prefer, will work great on them. You just want to make sure that the rifle that you choose covers class 4. And then also, you might want to bring with you the variant 22, just so that way if one's not giving you a good angle, you can use the 22 trick, which I'll probably demonstrate later in the video. The packs of wild boar do get very, very large, 20, 30, sometimes 40 wild boar in one pack. I haven't hunted them in a minute, but seems like that's what I remember. Using the 22 is just going to help you, if there's one specific one you're targeting, you can drop around into the group, and it'll kind of widen them up and make them all go alert. As for ammo, I'm bringing with all of the ammo that I've ever purchased. It just doesn't weigh much at all. Under sights, you're going to want to bring with you the Angler, or a night vision scope of choice. I suggest you the Angler. And then I'm also going to bring with me the Odin, because lately what I've been doing with my wolf grind, which is also at night, is I've been shooting with the Odin. I've just been shooting the outlines of the animals. This only works if you have sight spotting unlocked, and just having that little bit of extra zoom has made shooting gray wolves still a challenge, but a lot easier than trying to use the Angler, which is only 4x8. The Odin is a 4x12. So it's preference. I'd suggest bringing both of them if you don't like using the Odin at night. Not a lot of people do, obviously, because it's not night vision, but it might be worth it if you're not the best at shooting with a zoomed out scope like this one. As for lures, you can bring with you the Wild Boar Collar. It's really the only one you'll need. First aid kits, because there's going to be Grey Wolves in Medved, which is the map that I'm going to suggest that you do it on, which we'll talk about here in a minute. And then doggy biscuits just to keep him happy. As for binos, you can bring with you strictly the Gen 0 night vision binos, because you're not going to use the Apex view at night. There's literally no difference between the two. They both have rangefinders built in. They're both very, very clear. The only difference is this one's night vision, so these are the ones you're going to want to bring with you. As for portable structures, you're going to want to take with you tents and tripods. Now, with the last update here in the Hunter Call of the Wild, they did make it so that way backpacks almost make no difference in the sense of how much sound you make now. So most of us creators are using backpacks, including myself now after some trial and error. So if you head into character, you go to backpack size and you set it to large, that's going to give you 32 kilos of space, allowing you to carry everything that I just showed you in this quick little loadout guide. If you don't know how to buy a backpack, go to the store, scroll down to consumables, click on backpacks, and buy the most expensive one. That'll give you all 32 kilos. Alright, so now that we got our loadout all squared away, let's go ahead and get the time reset, and I'm going to share with you guys some hotspot maps, and just general tips and tricks for finding your drink zones and getting set up. Alright guys, welcome to Chapter 2, finding your need zones and getting set up. Now you're going to find wild boar drinking from 0 until 3 here in Medved, and the reason that I would suggest Medved to you is because the map is very, very wide open, and the snow kind of gives this, even with the headlight off, this illumination, with a little bit of help from the beautiful moon up there hiding behind the trees, which will make just seeing animals in general a lot easier. Now on screen right now is the hotspot map that'll show you exactly every single area that wild boar drink zones can potentially spawn in at, and what you're going to want to do before you start to get set up is find as many as you possibly can. You're going to need to find a minimum of 8. I would suggest to you at least half of the zones at a bare minimum. It's best that you find all of them, and we're going to talk about why here in just a little bit. But the reason that you need at least 8 zones is so that way you can set up, which is exactly what I'm going to show you how to do right now. Now one more quick tip before we do go get set up, I'd suggest to you that you set the time to 2 AM, which is 1 hour before their drink time ends, just to get every single boar to spawn in as efficiently as possible. Even at 2 AM, sometimes zones won't spawn in. Now I know there's a lot of zones here in Medved. Like I said, you don't need them all, but the vast majority of them is definitely suggested. Fun fact, I spawned 3 Great One Wolves and a super rare, with no herd management, and only 11 drink zones discovered. For those of you guys that don't know, I'm not an official creator because I'm under the age of 18, so I didn't get to grind in early access. So what I did was, as soon as the Great One Grey Wolves were released to the public, I just found as many zones as I could, set up with tents and tripods, and started shooting. Alright, I spooked him, but we got a decent herd of wild boar out here in front of us. I believe I seen a level 4 male out there. Let's see, where's the drink zone? Right here. So I'm currently 125 meters from them. Good to know. So in this zone, there are males and females. This is a pretty common thing with the boar. You really don't got to worry about it. Pretty much every zone has males and females in it. I don't even know. Do solo zones for wild boar exist? I guess we're going to find out today, aren't we? So the very first thing you're going to want to do is pick 8 zones at a minimum with males and females in it. Doesn't matter what level males are in there. Doesn't matter what level females are in there. People overcomplicate it. So I'm doing the direct opposite. I'm just telling you in the simplest way, you need to find a zone with males and females. Once you find a zone with males and females, go ahead and drop a waypoint on that zone. Or preferably, you see this little green outline here? That's exactly where they're standing. 155 meters. So what you're going to want to do is run 250 meters from the zone, roughly 250. If you're any closer than 250, when you spawn into your tent that you're about to place, it'll spook them because they'll hear you spawn in. That's the only reason we say 250. So 260, 270, anything over 250 works. Does not have to be exactly 250. Alright, I'm about 265. Go ahead and drop this tent down here. And as you can see, even from placing the tent, which is louder than fast traveling in, they have no idea. So once you got your tent placed down 250 meters from the zone, you're going to want to run up to 164 meters. And when you're choosing your zones to set up on right off the bat here, you're going to want to make sure there's zones like this, nice and wide open, easy to shoot, zones you just like in general. This zone is going to work perfectly for me, it's nice and wide open. And then what you're going to want to do now, it doesn't really matter how close you run, you just want to make sure that you're over 164 meters away. And the reason for this is because I'm running right now, and they have no idea that I'm here. This one's actually starting to go attentive, he's about exactly 160. 164 meters, even with a backpack on, is where they're going to hear you running. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure your tripod is further than 164 meters from the zone, even if it's right outside your tent. If you're comfortable with long shots, that's fine. For me, I average like 175, 200 meters from the zone. That's what I do usually. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's closer. If you don't have a choice but to place the tripod like 10 meters from the zone, because some zones can be very thick, I'd suggest to you that you find a wider open zone, but if you don't have a choice, maybe you're doing it for herd management or something, we'll talk about that in a little bit, you're simply just going to want to make sure that you go slow, maybe crouch, even go prone if you have to, so that way they don't hear you on your way to your tripod from your tent. Obviously, you want animals to shoot, you don't want them to spook. Now this does get very time consuming. It might only take like 5 minutes to get into your tripod, but after 10 rotations, that's 50 minutes of time. That's almost an hour. So over time, it definitely adds up, and efficiency is key here. You want to be able to run right into your tripod. And then now you're set up on a zone. Congratulations, you're going to want to do this for 8 zones. And the reason you want to do this for 8 zones is because when you go to place claim tents, the map tent limit is 16 tents. So if you're set up on 8 zones with a fast travel tent and a tripod, you're going to have exactly 8 tents left because 8 plus 8 is 16 to use as claim tents. Now claim tents are very, very simple. All they are is a tent that you place on top of the zone that you're shooting, so that way once you shoot BOAR out of that individual zone, you don't have to run all the way over there to claim them. You can just simply fast travel to the tent that's on top of the zone to pick up your harvests. Saves you time. Like I said, over time it adds up to hours, especially if it's a 175 meter run. That takes probably 2 or 3 minutes. Now, one more tip for when you're setting up: if you can abuse the locations of where outposts are placed. For example, let's say this outpost here. This outpost would be a great location for this lake, or even all 3 if you want to run the 3 lakes. So what this is this is a 9th zone. You know, you set up with your 8 with tents and tripods. This is a 9th zone right here, or could be multiple more zones simply just because there's an outpost right at a perfectly convenient area. I have a tripod here. This is a lake that I'm going to use. Obviously, I don't have any tents left over for claim tents, but the tripod's right next to the lake. All you really got to do is run maybe 5 extra meters, and if you're going to use herd management, which I am a little bit, we're going to talk about that in a minute, you can just shoot this zone until it's shot down, then you can pick up your tripod and use it somewhere else. So yeah, that is setting up for the Wild Boar Great One grind. Congratulations, you've officially made it to Chapter 3, Herd Management. Now, at this point in the guide, you should be set up, or you should at least understand how to set up. And now what you're going to want to do is decide whether or not you're going to use herd management. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions in the Call of the Wild community is that herd management affects the spawn rate of Great Ones. Herd management does not affect the spawn rate of Great Ones whatsoever. Absolutely does not. If somebody told you that, never trust any of the information they ever provide to you again. Because they clearly don't know how the game works. I'm going to explain to you how Great Ones spawn. It's very, very simple. Anytime you shoot a male that is a Great One species, whitetail, fallow, moose, bear, etc., the newest addition obviously being Wild Boar, there is a very, very small chance that it can respawn as a Great One. Okay, that chance is like 1 in 10,000 or something. There's an actual number, but it really serves no purpose because the game's spawn system operates off of a system called RNG, Random Number Generation. It's like playing the lottery. It's simply just a matter of if that male that you shot and harvested, it's very important that you harvest it because unharvested animals that you shoot and leave and don't pick up, will not respawn as a Great One. It's just a matter of if that male that you shot and picked up respawns as a Great One or not. Now you might be saying, Squid, for all my herd management geeks out there, much love to you, was good, bro. I thought herd management gives you more diamonds and bigger rares. Well, yes, it does give you more diamonds, but you gotta think about it. Every other zone on your map, once you're herd managed, besides the zones that you're set up at, you know what's there, and that's absolutely nothing. A bunch of tiny, non-shooter animals. That's the goal with herd management. Diamonds and rares have a slightly higher spawn rate than Great Ones, quite obviously. That's why you get so many diamonds, compared to one Great One, you know? So when you spawn those diamonds, which there's always diamonds and rares on your map, even if you've hunted your map extremely heavily, there's at least a diamond or a rare on your map right now. When you're doing a herd managed grind, those diamonds and those rares 90% of the time spawn in your main zones. So essentially what you're doing is you're searching your entire population of whatever species that is that you're grinding in one rotation, or one run through the 8 zones that you're set up on. And the only reason that you're, quote, searching your entire population is because you know what's at the rest of every other zone that you're not set up on. That's if you've fully herd managed. The goal with herd management is to fill every single zone besides your main zones, or the zones that you're set up on, with small non-shooter animals. Now every now and then, yes, you will get a jumper. In fact, I've had Great Ones jump. And what a jumper is a shooter animal that spawns in a zone that you're not set up on. People get jumper diamonds for the fallow deer all the time. It's a very, very normal thing. But the thing that I'm trying to tell you is herd management doesn't just give you more diamonds. It makes it so that way 90% of the time when you spawn diamonds, which is going to happen either way as long as you're shooting enough males, they spawn in the zones that you're set up on because every other zone on the map is filled with non-shooter animals. And obviously once you fill those zones with non-shooter animals, you're not hunting them anymore. Hopefully that clears it up for you guys. And look at this, guys. We have a solo wild boar. So solo wild boar do exist. Okay, we made a discovery. So if you're not going to herd manage, because like I said, herd management does not affect the spawn rate of great ones, so you absolutely do not have to herd manage. What I would suggest that you do, honestly, is find the vast majority of your zones. Don't shoot anything out of those zones, because every single time you shoot and claim a male in a zone that you're not set up on, that's a higher risk factor of a great one spawning in a zone that you're not set up on, which sucks. Trust me, I've had it happen multiple times. If there's a diamond or something or a rare that you might want, shooting one probably isn't going to affect anything, but I mean, if you're extremely lucky, I've had a 2-kill wolf grind. 2 kills it took to spawn a great one. You can very well spawn a great one off of 1 kill, but if it's a diamond or a rare, I would shoot it either way in an exterior zone. Chances are 99.9% of the time, you're not going to spawn a great one off of 1 kill. And the reason that you want to find the vast majority of all of your drink zones for your boar is so that way when you shoot a male out of an individual zone, for example this one here, that male will then respawn into the zone that you shot it from if you have all of your drink zones discovered. Discovering all of your drink zones gives you consistent respawns. If you don't have all your drink zones and you shoot, for example, a level 3 out of this zone here, that level 3 can very well still respawn into the zone that you shot it from, but if you don't have all your drink zones discovered, it can jump anywhere else on the map, to any other drink zone. Shoot, it can form a new drink zone. That's why discovering all of your drink zones is a very, very good idea. I've found that having like 60% of my zones gives me consistent respawns, but I mean, I've had consistent respawns for like 5,000 wolf kills. I have all of my zones now, yes, but only for like the last few weeks. As I said at the beginning of this guide, I spawned 3 Great One Wolves and 1 Super Rare with no herd management and only 11 zones discovered. I have only about 60% of my whitetail zones in Reventuli discovered. I've spawned several great ones. I spawned Kendall Gray a great one and let him shoot it. Now for grinds like my fallow grind that are heavily herd managed, yes, you get diamonds every single rotation, and that's a sacrifice that you're taking. And also another sacrifice of not using herd management is the fact that you're going to get smaller rares. With herd management, obviously, it's going to force spawn the biggest animals on your map into your main zones, and those are the animals that you're rotating off of. So when you spawn a rare in your main zones, the chance of that rare spawning as a big animal is obviously much higher. So therefore, the chance of a super rare is also much higher. But then again, I mean, look at my wolf grind. I have a super rare wolf. I've shot 30,000 fallow deer, more than that at this point, between PlayStation and PC over the last few years, and I still don't have a super rare fallow, and it's my most herd managed grind. But I guarantee you, if I go do a fallow deer rotation right now, I got 2 or 3 diamonds on my map waiting for me. And to be honest with you, it just gets old. It's not as fun if I find a fallow deer diamond in multiplayer or something. I won't even taxi it. Really, the only thing that would give me a thrill at this point with my fallow grind is a great one or a super rare. And it just made the grind boring. I don't enjoy the fallow grind as much anymore. So that is why, I know I've been talking for a minute here, but hey, I just want to clear this up for people that really think you have to use HM to spawn great ones. So that is why with a lot of my grinds, you'll notice when I'm streaming I don't shoot a diamond every 10 seconds. Because I'm mediumly herd managed. I've shot down probably half of my exterior zones. And honestly, it just makes it more fun when I spawn a diamond. Makes my heart sink every single time. The choice whether or not you want to go heavy with your herd management, medium herd management, or not herd manage at all is completely up to you. No matter what, I would still suggest that you find the vast majority of your drink zones. Now, if you are going to herd manage wild boars, let's talk about what to shoot in the 4th and final chapter of today's video. Now, if you aren't going to herd manage your wild boar, you're good from this point on. Just find the majority of your drink zones set up and start blasting away out of the zones that you're set up on. Now for my herd management people that are going to herd manage, what you're going to want to shoot for the wild boar in your main zones is every single male. So these males here, which is a main zone that I'm set up on, I'd shoot every male out of it. I'd recommend 2 at a time. If you want to shoot all the males that are in the zone, go for it. I always shoot 2 at a time just to keep everything even. Now what I would suggest to you that you do in your main zones if you're using herd management is do some rotations right off of the bat. Test your respawns. If you're not getting consistent respawns, look for more drink zones. Shoot every male you see until you spawn 3 or 4 diamonds. Once you spawn 3 or 4 diamonds, leave those diamonds in your main zones. And the reason that you're going to want to do that is because having max level animals on your map, specifically in your main zones, is going to force spawn more small boar. That's just the way the population works. When there's more big animals, smaller animals spawn. That's how the game balances itself out and keeps the big animals rare. So therefore, having those level 5 boar in your main zones, which should be your first goal with this grind, is going to help you shoot down your exteriors. Now, for your exterior zones, you're going to want to shoot every single boar that is a level 3 and above. Level 2 males like these over here can be left. Those are shot down animals. What a shot down animal means is an animal that you don't need to shoot. Once your whole zone fills with 2s just like this, then you can pick up your tent and tripod and move on to another zone and shoot that zone until the zone is shot down. Again, a shot down zone is a zone with boars that are only level 2s. Now, if you're using medium herd management, you're only going to need to do this to like 60% of your exterior zones, or the zones that you're not set up on. Now, the reason that I said you're going to want to pick up your tent and tripod and move on to another zone is because what I would suggest to you when shooting down the rest of your map, especially if you're using heavy HM, is to pull a tent or two out of your main zones that you're set up on, leave your tripod so you know where that zone is, and just set up that tent at a random zone that you want to shoot down. That'll make it so that way you don't have to run a mile every single time you want to go shoot down an exterior. Or shoot an exterior, my bad. Now, some big confusion that a lot of people have is I've seen people try to leave diamonds in their exterior zones. If you find a diamond in a zone that's not a main zone, you always want to shoot it. All that's going to do is force spawn small males into your mains. Because like I said, oh, this grind is going to be so much fun. Look how easy those just dropped with the 300. Not even good shots either. It's crazy. Because as I just said, having diamonds on your map force spawns more small animals. So leaving diamonds in zones you're not set up on is going to do the exact opposite of what you want to happen. Bigger animals will always spawn, so 3s and 4s for the wild boar. Even if you have 20 diamonds on your map, there's still going to be some 3s and 4s. It's just the way the game works. Everything has to stay somewhat balanced. So accidentally leaving diamonds in your exteriors is a very, very bad idea. Because like I said, that's just going to force spawn all the small ones into your mains when you want to do the opposite. And then you just repeat this process until you're happy. I usually do it until I get a diamond about every 100 kills or so, 50 to 100 kills depending on the grind. For my bear grind, it's like every 150 kills. Sometimes I can get 4 diamonds in a row though, it's completely random. I'm talking about in my main zones here. You shoot down the rest of your map besides the zones that you're set up on, until you get to a point of where you're happy with as many diamonds per rotation as you're getting. That's if any. If you herd manage your whole map besides your main zones, all of the big animals on your map are going to be forced into your main zones, all of your big respawns at least. Like I said, every once in a while animals do jump around. You might shoot one, it might respawn as a diamond in an exterior. If your map is extremely herd managed, you'll notice it, trust me. Like for my fallow grind, when I have a solo diamond jump, whether that be the coast or a solo lake or something, I'll notice it right away. I'll be getting like 2-3 diamonds less per hour. But sometimes, I mean, your animals can just get extremely small in your main zones for absolutely no reason. And I'd say 65% of the time, that's a sign of a great one about to spawn. I've noticed with my grinds that my spawns in my main zones get really, really small before the great one spawns. Kind of depresses me every time, not gonna lie. This just happened the other night with my mule deer. And then bam, there he is, just standing there. And then after that point, I start to spawn 3s and 4s again. It's crazy. So yeah, that is pretty much the wild boar herd management in a nutshell. We're gonna talk about solos real quick. Solos are just the exact same thing as exterior zones. If it's a level 3 or bigger, shoot it. If it's a level 2 or anything below, or a female, leave it. A solo zone is a zone with only males or a singular male, or only females or a singular female. When you shoot that zone, the zone will then vanish and respawn somewhere completely random on your map, which you're then gonna have to find the respawn of, which makes solos a pain, I know. And if that solo respawned is another shooter, shoot it again. Again, having diamonds in your main zones is going to make the chance of that solo respawning as a level 2 or a non-shooter much higher. What did Squid teach you guys in this absolute banger of a video? Having diamonds in your main zones force spawns smaller animals in your exteriors. Not every time, but like 60% of the time, depending on how many diamonds you have. Okay, cool. Now you know how to do the Wild Boar Great One grind when it comes into existence here on December the 9th. If you guys did make it to this point in the video, please let me know down below by smashing that like button. It is very, very much appreciated, and it does get the videos pushed to more people just like yourselves. The channel's growing so quickly. I mean, our goal by the end of 2025 was 10K, and we just broke 16K. Thank you guys all so much for that. If you guys want to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. It is free, and it really does help support the YouTube channel a ton. Join the Discord server. The link for the Squid Gang is down in the description. Just broke 3,000 members in the Discord server. We have an absolutely amazing community, hotspot maps, general help. There's so many people in there, not even moderators, who will just help you out of the kindness of their own heart. People tell me all the time we have the best Call of the Wild community, despite the fact that it's only 16,000 people, and I could not agree more. Our community is so friendly, so inclusive. I'm in the Discord server constantly, so the viewer engagement between me and you guys is very, very high. If you want to talk to me, join the Discord server. I have general chat pulled up on my right monitor right now. I'm in voice chat pretty much every night. Join the live streams. The live streams are an absolute blast. As always, my name is Squid, you're watching Squidster Outdoors, and we'll catch you guys in the next banger. Peace out, my gamers.